Yo, welcome to a new vid. This is the series where I read a chapter of a new book every single day and I come and tell you guys exactly what I've learned so you guys don't have to read the book yourselves. Cool. So, right now, the book I'm reading is Atomic Habits, and what I'm going to be talking about today is finding and fixing bad habits. Right? When it comes to your habits, the reason the book's called Atomic Habits is your habits, right? These are like the atoms of your life. Everything that you do on a daily basis without even thinking about it, whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously, these are the little things that make up your trajectory, where you want to be, who you are, who you were before. And it's just like your whole identity, right? It's all based off of your habits, the things that you do consistently on a long time horizon, right? I'm sweating, it's super hot in here, we're in a heat wave in the UK right now. That's why I'm sweating. But yeah, so today I'm going to be speaking about finding and fixing bad habits. And why that's so important is because you can't really change anything unless you're actually aware of it, right? You want to know what you're actually doing well, what you might not be doing well, in order to really change and optimize that. But when it comes to like a craving or a bad habit, you really want to understand the real underlying motive and why you actually feel that craving. Like one thing you have to understand is we're 2026, we're modern humans, right? But we still have the same hardware and software that our ancestors did tens of thousands of years ago, right? We still have that ancient software or hardware. So when you get the craving to have a McDonald's, you don't really crave McDonald's, right? You don't really crave fast food. The actual real underlying motive and desire behind that is you crave food, right? The need is food. You want food in order to survive. That's what you actually need. So when you actually think about what's the main reason I'm actually doing this, why do I have this addiction? Why am I addicted to fast food? It's not that you want the fast food. It's that you want the desired state, which is feeling satisfied from eating. So then what can you do when you realize that? You're like, okay, now I can kind of change this and make sure that when I get that craving, I know that it's because I want to eat something. So let me make that thing healthy but still tasty in order to stop that bad habit. So you're replacing things, right? When you understand what the actual underlying cause or underlying root of that is, you know, like I said, cravings are modern day solutions to ancient needs. You really want to be able to understand what's actually behind what you're actually craving, right? It's even the same as, let's say for example, there's other examples. Let's say for example you crave people who watch porn, for example, right? What is the actual underlying ancient desire behind that? It's you want connection, right, with the opposite sex. You want to be you want to be sexually, what's the word? You want to be sexually fulfilled, right? So what do you actually need to do? You need to go out there, speak to women, meet women in real life. That's what you need to replace the corn with. So it's the same in all aspects of a bad habit. Take a step back, think about, yo, what's actually going on? Why am I actually craving this thing? And then you can work to replace that with something positive and constructive. So that's what I've learned today. It's a super, super light video. And that's what your mindset's got to be. You've got to be super wary. I always say that you don't want to be living life on AFK. You want to always understand what you're doing, be aware of what's going on, so you can actually, take into account what's happening. You don't want to live life like an NPC, just passing you by, being on AFK the whole time. You won't get to where you want to be. And by the time you wake up 10, 20 years later, you've done nothing. So you want to really have an audit of what's going on, the actions, the habits that you might have. It might be vaping. You might feel calm and more relaxed when you're vaping, right? It might it might release a certain chemical in your body that makes you more, relaxed and calm. That's what people say to kind of rationalize vaping, smoking weed, cigarettes, that kind of thing, right? But if you actually think about the underlying desire, it might be stress and you want to relieve stress. So what other ways can you relieve stress to replace that? Journaling, right? When you take away one thing, you need to replace it with something else because there's going to be a void that's left there. So always keep that in mind. When you replace a bad habit, when you remove a bad habit, you want to replace it with something that's positive, right? In place of it. And if you do that over a consistent amount of time, you're going to be sky high. So always keep that in mind. That's it for today. Really simple, really, straight to the point. So find and fix your bad habits. You've got to understand the underlying motive behind the craving. We still have that ancient hardware, ancient software that we had thousands of years ago. So use that to your advantage. Think about what's the actual primal need, desire that I'm actually trying to fulfill right now, and work to replace that in a constructive way, rather than using instant gratification vices like corn, smoking, eating fast food, that kind of thing. All right. So that's the video for today. Catch you tomorrow.